This song is called Agnes's Library. And the song is about Agnes, and it's about the library. But Agnes's Library is not the name of the library. That's just the name of the song. And that's why I call this song Agnes's Library. You can check out books for free at Agnes's Library. You can check out books for free at Agnes's Library. You just walk right in, it isn't hard. Just make sure you don't forget your library card. You can check out books for free at Agnes's Library. Now, this story started one Thanksgiving ago. It was on 1 year ago on Thanksgiving when me and my buddy Fidget had the day off, and we decided to return a book to Agnes at the library. Now, Agnes doesn't live in the library. She lives over on El Prado Road with a cat, Frankie. But you see, 3 weeks prior to this, even after the miserable experience I had the first time I visited the library, I decided I would give the library one more chance. So 3 weeks prior to Thanksgiving, on a Thursday, I went to the library and checked out a book on the life and times of Barry Manilow. And it just so happens that the book came due on Thanksgiving Day. Now, being the skinflint that I am, I didn't want to incur any late fees, so me and Fidget decided to drop off the library book before heading home for a big Thanksgiving dinner. Well, we hopped into the car, and on the way over to the library, we witnessed two long-haired gentlemen in a red VW microbus with shovels and rakes and other implements of destruction in the back of it, throwing bags of garbage over the side of a small 15-foot cliff that was on the side of a side road in town. Well, I immediately called Officer Obi on my cell phone and reported them, and he said he would look right into it. And after we did our civic duty, Fidget and I continued on to the library. Now, upon our arrival at the library, we saw a big sign on the front door of the library saying, "Closed for Thanksgiving." Well, I'd never heard of a library being closed on Thanksgiving before, so with tears in my eyes, I stood there in front of the library, knowing that full well with the library being closed and all, I would indeed incur late fees for not returning the biography of Barry Manilow by the due date, the total amount of which would have to come out of my personal money. It was then Fidget, who was not quite grasping the severity of the situation, pointed to the book return in front of the library down by the street and said that I could merely return the biography of Barry Manilow there, and having returned it to the library on Thanksgiving, I would not incur any late fees that would have to be paid out of my personal money. He then added the words, "you big baby," to his previous statement about returning the book in the book return. Ignoring the epithet Fidget had added to his previous statement, I picked myself up from the prone position I had thrown myself, dried my tears on my cape, and walked over to the book return. Now, upon grasping the handle of the book return and pulling forcibly, I quickly realized that, like the Thanksgiving turkey simmering in the microwave back at my secret lair, this library book return was stuffed full of books that other people had checked out 3 weeks ago and were due on Thanksgiving. Other people who would return their books by the due date and would not have to incur late fees that would have to be paid out of their personal money. So Fidget and I sadly returned back to the secret lair and sadly had a sad Thanksgiving dinner. Well, the day after Thanksgiving, Fidget and I returned to the library with the biography of Barry Manilow. Agnes was there, and she did indeed fine me for the late return of the books, despite me telling her the story about the library being closed and the book return being full, and showing her the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures I had taken of the full book return, with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each photo that I used as evidence in my case. I was fined 10 cents, the full amount of which was due immediately. Well, I ranted and I raved and I jumped up and down, and Agnes said that she was finding me to teach me a lesson about responsibility and borrowing the library's property. Well, I ranted and raved some more, and it was then Fidget took a dime out of his sock-shaped wallet and paid Agnes, apologizing to her for my behavior and once again adding the words "big baby" to his statement. It was then I decided, once and for all, I was done with libraries. But that's not what I came to talk to you about. I came here today to talk to you about having a getaway plan. You see, one day after the library incident, Fidget and I went back in time to 1492 to steal Christopher Columbus's spyglass. You know, the spyglass that he used to scan the horizon looking for land on his voyage? Well, Fidget and I made a time jump and disguised ourselves as a barrel and hid out on the deck of the ship and waited for just the right moment to swipe said spyglass from Christopher Columbus and then return to present day and sell it on eBay. Well, we waited and waited and waited and waited for days on end for just the right time. And not once during any of that time did we see Christopher Columbus. It was then that Fidget informed me that we were on the wrong boat and that Christopher Columbus had 3 boats, and he was not on this one. Well, I was enraged, and I began ranting and raving, and Fidget told me to be quiet lest we be found out. He then added another epithet, the full details of which I will spare you from, but suffice to say it contained the word baby in it. Well, about that time, we were indeed found out by the crew of the ship that we were on, who were convinced that Fidget and I were stowaways. I told them that we were not stowaways, but were in fact barrel makers who had had a mishap at the barrel manufacturing place. Well, they did not believe my story one bit, even after I showed them the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures of the full book return with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one that I still had in my pocket from that day at the library. Fidget then explained to me that the pictures would do no good here, and then he added just about the nicest epithet he's ever called me. Genius. Well, I thanked Fidget for thinking so highly of my mental intellect, and he muttered back something or other about sarcasm. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. But the next thing you know, the crew had hauled us up out of the barrel, and we found ourselves surrounded by a bunch of the angriest looking sailors you'd ever seen in your entire life. Well, that's when I realized I needed a getaway plan. And then I came up with one. And that's why I'm singing you this song right now, because perhaps you know someone who needs a getaway plan. Or perhaps one day you'll need a getaway plan yourself. You know, say if your arch nemesis has you trapped, or you're surrounded by a whole bunch of the angriest looking sailors you've ever seen in your entire life. Or your older brother has told you to clean up his room, and he's threatened to give you a noogie if you don't do it. Friends, if you find yourself in any of these situations, you just do what I did on that very day. You walk right up to them, you look them right in the eye, and you get a big smile on your face. And then you say the very phrase that I said that day on the ship. You can check out books for free at Agnes's library. And then you run as fast as you can in the opposite direction. Or, if you're like me and have access to a time and space travel device, you make a time jump back to your home, and then you hide under your bed for the rest of the afternoon. But if you say that phrase, friends, your arch nemesis, or a bunch of angry sailors, or your older brother will just stand there and stare at you dumbfounded, because they will have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. And that's it. The evil mastermind, Dr. Steve's Agnes's library getaway plan, patent pending. And just so you'll remember it, I want you to sing it along with me the next time it comes around on guitar. All right? Okay, here it comes now. Come on, Fidget, snap it up. Let's play the part.
All right, here it comes.
Here we go. You can check out books for free at Agnes's library. You can check out books for free at Agnes's library. You just walk right in, it isn't hard. Just make sure you don't forget your library card. You can check out books for free at Agnes's library. Oh, now that was just plain horrible. Do you people even want to get away? Look, you gotta sing it loud. Look, I've been singing this song here for the past 10 minutes, and I'll sing it for another 10 minutes. I will. I'm not proud or tired. So I want you to sing nice and loud and in 4-part harmony the next time it comes around. Okay, here we go. All together now. 1, 2, 3. You can check out books for free at Agnes's library, accepting late fees. You can check out books for free at Agnes's library. You just walk right in, it isn't hard. Just make sure you don't forget your library card. You can check out books for free at Agnes's library. I'm talking Agnes, Agnes's library. Ta-da-da-dee-dum, Agnes's library. Ha-cha!